Hello again, thanks for joining. So today we've got another PIKO vintage model to have a look at. It's model number 5/6509 and it's a Deutsche Reichsbahn coach. As usual, I got this model secondhand. It is a very old model now, but this box is actually looking in remarkably good condition. It has a few scuffs on the corner, but nothing significant, I think. And also at this end, you can see that the price was in zloty, which means that at some point this was sold in Poland. It's maybe the first person that bought it. Anyway, it's come here to Scotland, so it's quite well travelled, and we're going to have a look at it today. So the cardboard box opens up to reveal a plastic tray in which the coach is just held securely in there. So let's get this out and have a look. So first things first, when I pulled this out of the packaging, I saw that we have a bit of a problem here with one of the wheels. So I'm just going to fix that first. It might have just popped out of the plastic of the bogie. So there seems to be a bit of an issue here where the bogie has broken and come away here, and that's caused this just to come apart and the wheel to drop out. So that's a bit of a shame. It's had a little bash there. So I'm going to fix that with a little bit of glue. So I'm just going to use some poly cement for this. And I have a tube of Humbrol poly cement here, so I'm just going to use that. I'm going to put some onto a piece of paper, and as normal I say don't put this straight onto the model, put it onto a piece of paper first, and then you don't get glue everywhere. So I'm just going to put a bit of tape temporarily on the bogie here just to hold it together while the glue dries. Okay, that should do it. I'm just going to put it to one side and we'll come back to this once the glue is dried. Okay, some time has passed now, so let's have a look. It should have dried and it should be okay. So I'm going to take the tape off. Yep, and I think that's okay. So I think we're good to go now. So while we've been looking at the bogies here when we've been doing the fix, we might as well just do a little bit of a review of them. So you can see that it has these metal wheels and also these little metal panels here where the wheels attach into and the power is picked up here. The bogie has a little bit of movement here on this center piece. So it's almost like it's got a bit of suspension as well, which is quite neat actually, but there's a lot of movement on it. So it's obviously designed to go over really rough track. There's a fair degree of movement on the coupling as well. You can't change this for anything else. You can see that it's quite an integral part. If you don't like these couplings, tough luck. But the bogies themselves have a lot of detail here. You can see really nice relief on all the parts that make up this bogie. And they also have moulded in here the brake blocks. They're not in line with the wheels though. You can see that there's quite a lot of distance between the two. And that's probably a symptom of having these metal shims in here. Let's stay down below on this coach. You can see that there's a little handle there. And as we go along, we've got a couple of boxes and another handle, other small parts on the underside of the coach. So these are all very delicate and very thin, so they could easily break off. And here we have some white painting on these parts as well. That's really nice that that's been added in. And then finally we have the other bogie and coupling. And we've got in each corner some steps moulded in here as well. And in this black part we have some printed numbers and various logos and bits and pieces. That's really nice that they've added in so much detail there. And also on the side of the coach here you can see some more printing of the Deutsche Reichsbahn DR logo and the coach number as well. And then as we go down, there's a couple of other small pieces here printed onto the chassis, and there's this destination board as well. It's not the best transfer ever I've seen, and some of the writing is a bit funny. I think that one there, is it Dresden? It goes off the side of the little plate there, so that's a bit of a shame. But it's quite an attractive thing to have on the side of the carriage anyway. And here you can see the 2 for second class. And you've probably seen through the windows there that this is a compartment coach, so this is a second class compartment. Here we have the door. You can see that the windows are very nicely glazed, very clear plastic on the glazing, and they're almost flush fit, but not quite. The handle is picked out in silver, as is this little railing here, which is just moulded into the main body. And then on the windows themselves, you can see that this silver bar representing a window frame has been picked out here as well, which is very nice. And as we look down the length of the carriage, you can also see this line here, which has been printed on. And that's very nicely done, and it's very clear, there's no fuzziness at all. And then as we get to the end of the coach, we've got this additional part put on for the gangway here, and you can see that there's more glazing there on the gangway door and a little flip down plate, and these red lights here, which I'm hoping will light up. I'll give that some power in a little bit. Up on the roof of this coach, it's a grey piece of plastic which has been added in, and it has some hatch detail here, which is really nice. The brackets there are really good. And then it has the air vents running the whole length of the top of the carriage. There's no moulding mark or anything on this, which is really good. And down here you can see the buffers that have been pushed in through these holes, and they actually move an awful lot. It's actually quite a comedy looking thing, but that's quite good because they can take a few bashes and not break. So I'm actually quite impressed that these are really like this. It's quite funny, but I can see absolutely the benefit for having your buffers like this. And then further down underneath here you have some representation of brake gear. This is on deep relief on the moulding on the bottom of the coach. It's really nice. You have a few tanks as well. There's not a lot of detail on the bottom of these coaches. So I put it on a piece of test track there and gave it some power and nothing happened, and I was wondering maybe the lights have blown or something. But then I took off this bogie and realised, well, it does actually pick up. It doesn't actually send anything into the carriage. It just clips into this part of the model, but there's no actual cables putting anything up into the carriage. So it doesn't have lighting, unfortunately, at the end or inside this coach. So that's a real shame. I really thought it would. But what is good about this is that this obviously makes it very easy if you want to add lighting onto this, that it already has the pickups from the wheels. So that's pretty cool. And these just slot back in just with a push fit. So this Deutsche Reichsbahn second class compartment coach from PIKO is quite an interesting model. I had high hopes that it might have some lighting on it, but it doesn't. And it is a bit of a strange thing because it has some really nice things and some things which I really don't like about it. The things I like about this are the decoration on it, the painting and the lettering, and the lining as well is really nice. I really like the silver bars on the windows, they work really well. And the transfers on the side are very clear and there's quite a lot of them, it's very detailed. And there is also the little bits of extra white paint added onto some of the parts down on the chassis. But some of the things I don't like about this is that the plastic for the roof is a bit shiny. It doesn't look prototypical. It could probably do with either some matte varnish or a total paint job on the roof. That would really improve it. And the yellow for the interior is a bit unrealistic. It's very bright and I think it could benefit from being dulled down a little bit or just given some variation. The bogie arrangement is a bit weird. I can see why they've put this kind of suspension on it to help it get over rough track, but I think it's just a bit too much. Maybe it's over-engineered actually, and it's really a bit odd. It does have the provision for lights, but it really disappointed us there because it doesn't actually have any lights in the coach itself. Maybe there's a different version of this which does come with lights and maybe it came with a bit of a premium as well. So should you consider this coach? Well, it is a vintage item and it is starting to show its age. It has some limitations, but it is quite nice overall. I think it would be a very rare model to get hold of, and I'm not sure whether you can get this particular coach in a more modern moulding from a different manufacturer or maybe from PIKO themselves. Certainly if you're modelling the Deutsche Reichsbahn, I would suggest that you consider this model and maybe add it to your collection, maybe if you can get it cheap. But if you're not modelling the DR, then I think this is probably one you should pass on. Anyway, I hope you liked my analysis of this model. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. And also, if you don't mind, please give this video a thumbs up. It really helps this channel. And you can subscribe for more videos like this about model trains. But that's it for today. See you next time.